Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 5th of December for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you some key strands to look out for, but please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in forensic detail each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces. Now, of course, we've been in Sagittarius season, and as this week begins, there is still that flavour, the Sun, Mercury and Venus. And Mercury and Venus still very closely together. But we're going to see a change as on Tuesday, Mercury makes its way to the top of the zodiac, the 10th house, very much to do with how we think about our work and how we link to the wider world as it arrives in the sign of Capricorn. But it's going to be joined on Saturday by Venus, and they're going to continue their alliance. This suggests that our people skills and the way that we present ourselves can still be very important in terms of more worldly interactions. But right at the heart of this week, Mars, which has ended that very draining and enervating square with Neptune last week, that comes into play in an exact conjunction with the Moon in the sign of Gemini, which is in direct opposition with the Sun, with the full moon, and that occurs on Thursday. This is quite a volatile combination, I feel. So we can have very fast moving events, particularly around communications. Also, we may all find ourselves over the next couple of weeks wanting to defend our point of view quite fiercely. Also, some people can just feel enormously restless and want to break out and travel, be more physically active, but it is quite hard to embrace the more nurturing and more emotional energies of the moon in the detached sign of Gemini when Mars in its retrograde is so close to it. And I think, we see a lot of polarization of different viewpoints these days, so expect a lot of that in the following 2 weeks. The good news, however, is that Mars is in a semi-sextile with Uranus all this week. And if we can use our minds and our appetite for learning new skills, it could be a way that we can adopt fresh positions in terms of marshalling our resources. And of course, we're all needing to be much more conscious of the cost of things these days. Also, the Sun is going to be in an opposition with Mars from Tuesday through to the end of the week. So this is not a time to be too impatient, particularly around travel plans, because if we do rush to get to a destination, it's probably something that won't necessarily be to our best benefit. Much better to enjoy the journey and, if necessary, take the more circuitous but more picturesque route, whether metaphorically or actually. But also, as this week draws to a close, the Sun does move into a square with Neptune. So whereas Mars on the other side of the heavens was squaring up with Neptune from the start of October all through November and through the first few days of December, it's replaced on the other side of the heavens by the Sun. So the potential for confusion or amplification of sensitivities is given greater weight as this week draws to a close. Now, before I go on to tell you each of the 12 zodiac sign forecasts, if you would like to understand what year 2023 will hold for you as an individual, and above just the zodiac sign forecast in this broadcast, if you give me 3 pieces of your personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can give you your forecast for next year, the rest of this year free. But in my special package of 30% off, you can also get your life map. This is your character analysis to help you to understand the core energies that are at the root of your very being. Please see the link below for more. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for joining me, and I'd be grateful if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. If you're a long-term viewer, thank you so much for all your views. So Taurus, your week commencing the 5th of December forecast sees the Sun in opposition to Mars throughout this week from Tuesday. And because the Sun is in the part of your situation to do with longer term finance and Mars in terms of everyday spending, but now released from the cloying and dispersing energy of Neptune, it could be that you could feel a little bit more impulsive. If there is a side of your nature that really wants to do your level best to fund Christmas for your loved ones, for example, I think the fire of Mars can push you to perhaps try to do your absolute level best in terms of the value of the gifts you purchase. Because a lot of us are becoming much more aware of our budgets. So if money on an everyday basis is more of a concern for you, what Mars could do is see you tempted to be impetuous in a way that perhaps is going to have some implications further down the track. So it's just trying to marshal that, particularly on the back of the full moon, which occurs on Thursday. And there may be some sudden piece of news which does require you to pivot to try to balance your everyday costs with those longer term plans. But with Mercury and your ruler Venus moving into house 9, if you are going to splash out, it could also be around some kind of a winter vacation, or if you're in the southern hemisphere, just taking off somewhere that can give you a complete change of scene can actually be really cathartic for you. Now also for you, in terms of Mercury and Venus's journey through the 9th house, they're going to ask you to get to the truth of a relationship matter, because whilst they were in the 8th house, and particularly Venus, that's a very sexually stimulating energy. So the desire side of your nature has been very strong. But even if there is someone that you're strongly drawn towards in a very charismatic way, you find them almost irresistible, if you're not really getting a clear message back from them about what their intentions are, or how inclined they are to really invest in a relationship with you, if this is someone you've got to know more recently, I feel that Mercury and Venus moving into the 9th house can give you more desire to get to the clarity of what the situation is. Then again, it could be a long-standing relationship that you want to think more carefully about. And with the Sun clashing with Neptune as the week draws to a close, it could be a friendship as much as a romantic tie that you could find yourself a little bit unsure about. Having said that, the 9th house is very engaging. So if you are wanting to enter into the social world, that is Christmas, the festive season, a change really can be as good as a rest. So if you do get an invitation, you may decide spontaneously to just go for it, and it could end up being a very jolly time indeed.